Welcome to the ZBHO Dojo. My name is Spicer, your spicy sensei, if you will. And today on the stream, we're going to be working on some critiques. 1, possibly 2, possibly 3. We'll see. And then we're going to be working on our Frazetta piece. That's right. If we have time, we're going to get into the Frazetta. But first, before we get started, kicking ass, taking names, and turning on autosave, let us give praise and thanks to the lords and gods of CG. Starting with Frank Frazetta. Thank you, Lord Frank Frazetta. Next, St. Joseph, a priest. Next, St. Paul. Look up here, look up here, look up here, look up here. Good morning. Ryan, the king of Slian. And finally, Simon Lee, Spider. Oh, Zero. Thank you for your education, your inspiration, and your overall badassness. What is going on, dojos? Thanks for being here. B, I can't wait to start the mentorship item, brother. I cannot wait. Emmanuel, Eric, Attentive, Did Z's, Biteless. Thank you very much for being here. Hope everybody had a good week. ZBrush Summit is coming up, everybody. ZBrush Summit is coming up. I hope you're all ready. I hope you've been practicing on your speed sculpting. We've been practicing over at the dojo. We've been practicing at the dojo. So if you want to join now. We're going to be practicing this Thursday night on either our concepts, our workflows, all that good stuff. D-Zink's going to be there. D-Zink was on the Friday Night Live at the ZBHO Dojo, having a good time. And yep, so join the dojo. You can also post your work. Let me show you how it works. All right, let me show you how it works. Let's switch over into the dojo. Alrighty, so let's turn this chat on. There we go. Alrighty, so you can join the dojo, and you could submit your work for critique. And I will review it here live on ZBrush Live. So go ahead and join that dojo. It's all free. It's all positive. We're all having a good time, kicking ass, taking names. Turn on autosave. All right. So we've got Astral is back with his female sculpture. Hopefully the lesson we gave him last time helped him out. Let's see. Okay. All right, so let's look at the previous. Let's look at the previous one. Going to the desktop. Got a folder just for you dojo warriors. So this was the first one. And then we're going to load in the second one. Head is looking better. Let's look back and forth. Let's go here. Yeah, way better. Not such a big cranium, way less blockheady. I would put the eyebrows separately. And eyebrows, not eyeballs. Eyebrows separately so you can have a little bit more control over it. But yeah, definitely looking way better. So let's go back. Okay. So if you haven't already, make sure that you put some eyes in here. I think you mentioned having to decimate it pretty low, so probably you had to get rid of the eyes. So if you don't know, and make sure you're watching. You better make sure you're watching, everybody. Okay? I'm going to show you something most likely you didn't know. Okay? Go to macro. You're like, oh, there's nothing there. Click macros. Look at all this stuff. You didn't even know. You didn't even know. You didn't even know it was here. You didn't even know it was here. You can zero this out, but watch this. Append eyes. BAM! Eyes. Okay? Just so you know. Now you know. Okay? I don't want to hear any shit. How do you put in eyes? Okay? Now you know. Did you know that before? For all those who didn't know that before, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. If you did not know that before, put it in the chat. Okay? Alrighty. So, if we want this to look a bit more feminine, we're gonna have to change some things about this. Okay? So, I'm assuming that you want her athletic, but not muscular, just by the way that you're sculpting the body. Okay? So, first thing that we want to do is generally, let's go here, let's Dynamesh this. Let's go 1348. Random username. You've been here less than 5 minutes. We're less than 5 minutes into the stream yard to learn something. All right, just stick around. Just stick around. All right, you've been struggling with female anatomy. Stick around, because we're gonna break it down. You're probably like, oh, he's probably just gonna move some things. No, I'm gonna go deep into it. Okay, so stick around. You better not go anywhere. That goes for you too. You better stay right here. The only reason you should be leaving is to let everybody else know what's about to go down. Okay? You better get ready. Alrighty. So, we are going to, I don't know, I don't know what complex you would associate this with, but I got it and need to fix this before we go any further. I hope you understand. We're going to go down to 1024. I think that's going to be enough. We won't be sitting here smoothing all day. There we go. All right, so much better. Danny, what's going on? What's going on? Nice to see you here. Alrighty, so first thing we want to do is we want to treat this neck like a cylinder. You can see yours is more curvy right here. And it's making it seem very wide and very bulky, and it seems like her neck is very short, right? Derek DeVilla, what's going on, brother? Nice to see you here. So what I would do is bring those traps down, okay? You want her athletic, not a bodybuilder, okay? So here, what we need to do is we need to make the neck, to really start this off, we should have this as like a cylinder. So you can see right here, it's kind of losing its cylindrical feel. So we're gonna go here, and you can see you don't need to separate the head from everything else. It's rarely necessary unless you're doing cinematic characters and stuff like that. So if you're sculpting and you're learning, I would not make it a point to separate the head from the body, okay? All right, so we're going to get that right there, okay, and get nice and cylindrical right there, okay. Next thing we want to do is, it looks like she's doing this, right? Because her clavicles are like that, right? So if I do that to mine, this is what I'm going to be like the whole time, instead of like this. Okay, so we want to relax these shoulders a bit. All right, so let's she's a little bit smaller of a brush. I want to relax these shoulders, okay? And now you're probably thinking, well, the head of the deltoid is too short. That's right, so you lengthen it. put in there. We're gonna go over this. We're gonna go over this. I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes for someone to put it in the critique submissions, but if not, then we're just gonna go over this thing the entire show. All right. So if y'all wanted a female anatomy lesson, stick around because we got 2 hours of it. You're like, what? Seriously, bro? Low key? I wasn't expecting that, bro. Low key? Low key? Yeah, I didn't like that show, so don't stop saying that. Okay? No, saying look. All right, so we are going to round off the back of the skull. Let's take a look at a female skeleton. So you have one that comes with ZBrush. I'm just going to delete other. Okay. So this is a female skeleton. The reason you can tell is that the hips are wider than the rib cage, and that the angle of the jaw is soft instead of more testosterone based, and the brow is not that substantial, right? That's male, that's female. Okay. Another thing that you can tell that's male or female is that the glabella is towards the middle of the eye. Okay. For males, it's going to be higher up. Okay. And you're generally going to have a softer, smaller, mental eminence for the chin. Okay. And then the sternocleidomastoid is going to be much more subtle than it will be for a male. Let's take a look. Roughly make it the same size. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, we're gonna move this back. So you can see the mastoid process right here. Yeah, it's this that little node right there. Let me get a brighter color. Let's go BDS. Let's go here. Let's go RGB. ZSub. Okay. So the mastoid process right here. Okay, and you can see how much more substantial it is for a male. Right, how much larger it is, which is going to give you a much wider, thicker neck for males than you will for females typically. Okay, you can see here the angle of the jaw right here. Well, let's choose red, right there. Boom, boom, boom. Right, and then here it's much softer, right there. Okay, then we can take a look at the mental eminence. Much more subtle, much more robust, right? Much more angular, a whole lot more contrast going on here. Okay. And then just overall the connective tissues right here. So just deeper malar. You have a bigger hook for the masser to grab onto. You can see the difference. We have the same lighting here, but you can still see that there's a whole lot more midtones around the superciliary arches than it is for a female. Right? So we take a look at it this way. And skulls, in terms of their shape, really aren't There's size differences that are based off of testosterone, but in terms of shape, there's different skulls for everybody, right? So it's there's really no rule besides the back third being the widest part, whether it's male or female. Okay. And then you can see the glabella is way up here, and the glabella is a little bit lower for female. Okay. All right. What's up, Sergio? Appreciate you. Okay, so if we go back and we take those into account. Tin of Slug, hey Spicer, glad you were going over this. Where can I find a good male skull? I got that one from 1024. They're a photo scan, digital scan. I think they have a sale going on right now. 3D Scan Store or 1024. That's where I got mine. You don't want to get a modeled skull. You want to get a scan of a real skull, right? And if anything, you want to break that one down. You don't want to take someone's interpretation of the skull, because then you're always going to have that problem, right? If he's slightly off on his masseter or slightly off on his malar, you're going to now start doing that over and over and over and over again. So if anything, get a real skull and then retopologize it so it doesn't have any detail if that's what you want, right? Okay, so let's take a look. This is looking good. Okay, so let's get a little bit more of the nasal bone here. Right there, and just move that back a little bit. And I don't want it down here, I want it up there, because this is where the nasal bone is, okay? Right there. All right, so what you're missing right here, there's a couple things. The reason that your face is so flat on the sides and it seems so angular is because you need to have the widest part be the zygomatic arch right here, right? So if we take a look at that. Okay. So that's the zygomatic arch right here. And the reason it's the widest part is because you're going to have all of your temporalis feed into that and hook right in here, right? So that's the reason that it's got that arch, so that all of that can fit in there, okay? Okay. Alrighty, so now we have that, the widest part, and it's gonna go to the ear. Let's get right there. And I just want to be careful. I just want the bone to be the widest part, not everything else, right? So I don't want to drag or inflate or sculpt around any other area besides that one. So I can get some nice precise adjustments and then work slowly from there, okay? So here, what we want to do, I'm going to écorcher it for you. So you should have the bottom of the eye should be the top of the zygomatic. That should be the malar. It should end right about there. Okay, because it's going to be the bottom of the nose. And then this masseter is going to go back at an angle. Okay. And so your eyeball is going all the way back here, right? Your orbit. And what I want you to do is I want you to bring it in right there. Okay, because it should be pretty high and then going down, then going back up, and then going there. Okay, so what you're missing here in this area is you are missing your temporal arch. So you have your temple right here in between the red and the green, and then you have this arch, and it's not just a curve this way, it's actually going in and then coming around. So if we take a look at the female skull, you can see this is that temporal arch that I'm putting in here, right? So all of that. And this little bit right here isn't just going straight up and around, it's actually going in and then coming, going along the skull, right? So if we want to bring that, we're going to do that, bring it here, bring it around, and it's going to go back into the ear, right? So you can see all this meat that we need to get rid of now. Okay. So then what I'm going to do here is get this and bring that in. Because we're following the skull. We're not sculpting a face per se. Obviously, that's what we're doing. But what we need to do is understand the skull. And through that, you will be able to sculpt better. Okay? You'll do this and you'll never make this mistake again. Right? Why? Because you know the anatomy. You know this is a rule now. Right? And so after you start learning these rules, because anatomy is not some magical thing. It's not a, you know, it's not unreadable. It's not unlearnable. It's not any of that stuff, right? You just need to learn one rule at a time, practice that rule so that you can understand it and then move on to the next one, right? Sergio, what's going on? David, how much time did it take to get familiar with the human anatomy to capture likeness and sculpting? From the moment I started learning anatomy, I would say it took me, and I had 5 years of experience before then, just sculpting images and doing the best that I could, right, without hardly any direction. Okay, but after I learned anatomy, it took me a matter of months because I started breaking these things down. Like, no matter whose face I look at, I can still break it down because anatomy is anatomy. It's the same. They're the same rules over and over and over and over and over again, right? What does the stream say? What does it say? What does it say? Let's see, what does it say? Oh, yeah. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's see if we can fix it. Usually they take care of that before, but they are getting stuff ready for the summit. Okay. So what are these shows usually called? All right. That's what I'm usually called. Thanks for letting me know, brother. Alrighty, so hopefully that fixed it. It'll probably take a little bit. Yeah, it'll take a little bit, but we'll get changed. No worries. Appreciate the heads up. I'm unlearnable. Sumerian King, what's up? Brock Rock, I think the YouTube stream, TS Wolbach, he streamed. Yep. Great answer. Thanks. Figuring out how much time I can budget in the future to commit in learning organic sculpting. Yeah, it's not, something that's one and done, right? It's like you're always going to be learning anatomy. So I wouldn't expect that you would learn it and never have to return to it. It's something like all this stuff, you should always seek it out because there's so many great teachers out there that will say it in different ways or present it in different ways, teach it in different ways. And it may be the same thing, right? Like I've taken anatomy courses from 3 or 4 people. Ryan, Scott Eaton, let's see, who else was in anatomy somewhere? I can't. Oh, I can't remember his name. Zach Petrock. Those are the three that I learned from. And in terms of Scott Eaton's going to give you the most medical accurate anatomy information that you need as a sculptor. Ryan Kingsland is going to show you the planes of the body and give you some tips and tricks to kind of get you to the next step. And then Zach Petrock, he taught me the rhythms of the body, right? So I went from Ryan to Zach to Scott is the way I went. Dongling Zhang, can I upload a Pokemon I sculpted for a review? Sure, if you want to. I have no idea. I don't know anything about Pokemon. So I'm literally going to look at it like just a sculpture. So, but yeah, feel free to. I'd love to look at y'all's work. Come on, bring it on, brothers and sisters. Okay, so we fixed that. We fixed the skull here. And so what we're going to do is kind of smooth that out. And right here, it's just a little bit too puffy. Okay, if we look at the female skull, you can see the brow isn't so substantial. Okay. So if anything, we want to bring it in and wrap it around. Okay. We'll be very careful that we don't start putting a brow in here. Okay. So another thing that will help is that your eyes are flat. Your canthal tendons right here, right? So your lateral canthal tendon, your medial canthal tendon, and they're straight across from each other. But your face is at an angle. It'll always be at an angle. You'll never see a flat face. Okay. So what's true there is what's true on the malar as well, right? It shouldn't be flat across. It should be at an angle. Okay. And then we're gonna bring this this inferior temporal edge a little bit closer. Okay. So you have good roof fat. It's looking good. I would be very careful about how far you bring in these eyebrows and the fact that they're going down. Generally, they're going to be up here because you don't want to give them an expression in a. That's the job of the animator and all that. Okay, your job is to give them a really beautiful blank slate to work with. Okay. There, and I am now just making sure that all this stuff is equal distance around the eye. Okay, I don't want to suddenly have masses growing here and there. And we want the top eyelid to go over the bottom one. And I think that was a Dynamesh issue. So that looks a bit better. Do you have reference for this person that you're sculpting, or is this just out of your head? Right, and just bringing those nose in there, and don't forget the treasure trove. There's a little treasure trove in there, some boogie goodness. We want that to be represented sculpturally. All right. So we've got that, and then your alar is just going this way. It should wrap around, and then just smooth that out. And you want it to go around here. Okay. Alrighty. So, what's up, Logan Ben? And generally, the septal is in line or below your nostrils. Okay. Alrighty. So, okay, let's take a look at everything else. Everything else is looking pretty good. Let's fill this object. There we go. So yeah, much improved indeed. Much improved indeed. Keep going. Keep going. Let's go down here and check your clavicles and all that. Okay. So here it's a little bit too flat right here. So what I would like to see, and I know we brought in the neck and all that stuff, but wherever your deltoid is going, that's where the end of this trap is going to go, on the opposite side of your clavicle. Okay. And your clavicle is just going straight back. It needs to have a bit more of a curve. So what I want you to start thinking of the clavicle as is a border for your esophagus and the all the veins and arteries that are going down your neck, right? It's just housing that, okay? So after your neck, it's not going to do that anymore, and it's going to become a clavicle, okay? Right? So just imagine that your clavicle here is protecting your esophagus and your arteries right here, but after that, it needs to go around, okay? And you need to have this really, really flat here, okay? And so I see a lot of people, they don't know where to start doing the curve, just after the neck, and you're in a good spot, okay? I've been using references trying to make an African-looking woman. Yeah, you did that for sure. But what you want to do is you want to choose one individual, right? You don't want to this one, that one, this one, that one, that one, this one, whatever. Okay? You want to get one. And the best place to do that is on Instagram, because they literally take photos of themselves every single day, right? It's their job. Okay, so you want to go there and you want to find every single photo you can of them from every angle that you can, and then you need to fill in what you don't have with anatomy that you know. Okay. Tiago Castro, hey Spicer, howdy man, howdy back at you, brother. Any tips to properly read anatomy? The best thing to do is literally read the books of anatomy, especially George Bridgman, the Anatomy for Sculptors, facial expressions for sculptors, all that stuff. Aside from just looking at it and using it as visual reference, go in there and read it. And it may be a little bit too much in the beginning, but what you want to do is just take it a little bite by bite, okay? So you just want to choose a muscle that your favorite muscle, because if you don't know anything about it, anything you learn is going to be better than what you know, right? So you just want to take a hero muscle. So let's just call it the pectorals, right? You want to just start reading about it, right? From a sculptural aspect first, okay? And that's going to simplify a lot of things. And then the next step is to get into more of the medical side of it, okay? But really all you need to know right now is what's directly underneath the skin. And that's all you need to understand. After that, you can get deeper and deeper into it in terms of understanding the originations and the insertions. But reading anatomy from an image or something like that, the best way is to study anatomy and read books about anatomy, and then you'll be able to observe and analyze that over and over again. These are all things I teach in my mentorship. Like, these are things I literally focus on whenever I'm teaching a class or a mentorship, okay? Penguin Shosho, all right, I see ya. So I would definitely check that out. Where did you submit it? If anybody's looking to get their work submitted, you need to put it in critique submissions here. In the dojo, I'll put the link. I see people saying that they've submitted things, but I don't see them in here. So there's the link to the Discord. Okay. So Thiago Castro, even understanding about how muscles work, still very hard for me. Yeah, it's a very daunting subject to get into. I would take Scott Eaton's courses, 100%. And then if you just want someone to teach you, then obviously I can teach you that. So if you want, I have one more spot in the mentorship, the classroom mentorship. Let me bring that over here. So it's a group mentorship. It's 6 weeks live, 2-hour group sessions. There's only 6 artists per session. So it's not going to be 30 people in there that are all getting critiques. It's literally 6 people, and the time is divided amongst all of you equally, and it's for 6 weeks, and there's 1 spot left. So if you're interested in that, join the dojo and message me. And it starts October 21st. So that's going to be next Thursday. It's from 9:45 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. There's only 1 spot left. Okay. So if you want someone to teach you anatomy, that's what I do. That's what I've been doing at a collegiate level for 5+ years, and what I do on my own now. So yeah. Feel free. What's up, Russia? Vanessa, hello. I submitted a project I've been working on for school. Thanks for any critique if you get to it. Yeah, Vanessa, make sure on the link. Oh, that's not me. That's TS Whittlebach. That's a previous streamer that streamed last night. The link you need is the Discord link that I just put in there, Vanessa. Go there, join the dojo, and put it in the critique submission file. You can put a link in there, or you can put the ZTL directly. It's up to you. Okay? If you have any questions or you need any more information, let me know. Caesar David 59, I submitted the Dropbox from the title. Okay, yeah, same with you, Caesar. That link is for TS Whittlebach, who streamed last night. They haven't had a chance to update the stream yet. So you would need to join the dojo using the Discord, put it in critique submission. Okay. Right, and that goes for anybody. That goes for anybody that has previously submitted. You have to join the dojo. You have to join the Discord. Okay. Alrighty, so let's get back to this. So now we know how to adjust the clavicle, right? After the neck, as long as it's after the neck, and very close to the neck, then we should be good in terms of blocking out the clavicle 100% of the time. Okay. So next, in between the trapezoid here, the traps, and remember it's going in line. It's not going over the clavicle. It's attaching to, let's see, BDS. I really gotta make a new one for instruction. So it's gonna attach to this side of the clavicle, right? And then this side of the clavicle is your deltoid, right here. Okay. All right. So, and then you have your chromium process, and what you're missing back here is a little bit more of the spine of the scapula, which you're hinting at, but the the size and direction of your traps are not allowing you to highlight it as much as you should. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off about a pound of muscle from these traps, right? Because generally you're not going to, you'll find very defined traps, but generally the traps are going to be much more subtle than they would be on male. Okay. And right there. And boom, right here. So that's the spine of the scapula, the blade of the scapula, and then we need to put the teres major in there, right? And then your rear delt is going to be right here, okay? And then you're going to have a aponeurosis, or a sheet of tendon that's going to neutralize there. Off each side, let's get a little bit more green. Off each side, 1, 2, 3 sides of this acromion process is going to be the lateral head of your deltoid. Right, so boom right there, boom right here, boom right there. Okay, and let's go with blue just to make it a little bit more easier to read. Okay. So that's what's happening with your deltoid here, okay? So if we take a look at it and we need all this to be even, we can see that there's probably a little bit too much for the front delt and not enough for the rear delt, okay? Luan Sanal you can put it in your Dropbox or your Google Drive and then put a link in there. Make sure the link is available to everyone. Logan Ben, are you wearing a kimono? No, I'm wearing a gi. All right, we aren't relaxing. We're in the dojo. We're in the dojo. Dojos, you wear gis. Where's your gi? Did you buy one yet? Ben? Did you get your gi yet? Ashraf, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Thanks for being here. Alrighty. So, okay, so we got the face, all that good stuff. Maybe bring that back a little bit. Okay. Bring this forward. There. Okay. And possibly a little bit less right about there. Maybe a little bit less strong on the philtrum right here. But yeah, I would really make sure that you have one person that you're using for reference. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. You won't have to interpret much. All right, so here, much better on the medial canthal, but we need to attach it to the infraorbital furrow. Okay. And with the carunculum and all that stuff. Okay. And so that's gonna give you this shape right here. Right there. Okay. Alrighty, so I get sidetracked whenever I see something. Okay. So let's boom, 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 go object. Okay, so let's apply this knowledge. You can see it's kind of going up and then down, and then it's at an angle. But our arms are down, right? So generally, when your arms are down, the clavicle is going to be straight up and down. Whenever you have your arms raised, I would say here's where the clavicle is going to stop rotating, and then it's just going to stay there, right? And so your clavicles are telling me that her arms are up at this angle, okay? So what I would do is I would get this and give it a little bit more space here. So then we can put the traps in here as well, okay? Let me switch up this playlist. Alrighty. So, next thing we want to do is 7 cervical vertebra, and just remember, you know, it's the end of the neck, right? So we're going to bring that together. Bring this in, forward, smooth, 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 right there. 7 cervical vertebra. Okay, it's pretty much going to be diagonal from the head of the sternum, right? Because your rib cage is going back and attaching to the 8th vertebra, right? Alright. So here, let's bring this forward a little bit more. Get a little bit more form here. And ready. Alrighty, so that's a little bit better. Okay, so next thing we need to do is that your pecs are just kind of just going up there, and generally what I do is I like to have the rib cage and the pectoralis set before I put the breasts on. Okay. So to kind of do that, what I would do is just insert this female skeleton in here. Put this at the head of the sternum, shrink it down. Put this where the head of the sternum is. Notice how wide the head of the sternum is. Alrighty, so what I did right there is I just put the acromion process where your acromion process was, and then left it at the head of the sternum. Okay, so let's get the rib cage first. Okay, what I like to do is anywhere that's sticking out, obviously we're going to get the mesh, and we're going to make sure that none of it's going through. All around here, a little bit more of that. You can see how close we were to the clavicle, because all you need to do is after the neck, bring it back. Okay, and if you use this method, if you sculpt with a skeleton, you will develop muscle memory, and then you will always you'll start noticing things out of proportion without having to measure it anymore, because you've done it so many times with the skeleton that you have that muscle memory. Alrighty, so you can see how much longer we can get with the head, with the neck as well. Right, so let's do that so I can kind of show you. And what I want to do is I want to grab around the jaw, around the ear, and around the base of the skull. And that's how I want to start manipulating this, okay? So I'm gonna hold control and click. Also, you can go to masking and blur mask. Okay. And invert that mask, reset our orientation, and put this a little bit higher. Somewhere down there. Right about there. So we can do that and then fix all this. And these type of things are the stuff that you need to not worry about having to do, because it's much better to just come in here and resculpt this thing with much more with something that's a little bit more measured than trying to just alter what you have. And let's go here. Let's grab these eyes, move them up, and move them back. Okay. There we go. So let's get the rib cage. Right here. Okay. So I know the rib cage is going to be a little bit further down, right? So it's got to wrap around the rib cage right here. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the trim dynamic, and again, I want to get the pectoralis first. And if we can get that reliably, then we can start worrying about putting the breasts on. But you can't just put breasts on a random form. It needs to be, again, based off of the anatomy underneath, okay? So here's some things about the pectoralis. If you want to block it out and you want to get it right, then you better listen! Alrighty. So the pectoralis ends at the 5th rib. 1 rib. 2 ribs. 3 ribs. 4 ribs. 5 ribs. Okay? So this is where your pectoralis is going to end. Right there. And it's not going to attach all along the rib. Okay? It's going to go here. Right there. And then it's going to go over your bicep. Okay? So if we're going to use the skeleton, what I'm going to do is bring this in, and my OCD is going to, I don't know, is that what it's called? What is it called, chat? Whenever you can't just leave something alone, you got to fix it. And you can't do anything else until you fixed it. What is that? What is that called? Is that OCD? Okay. So we want to put our deltoid halfway down the humerus. Okay. So there's the beginning, there's the end, roughly around halfway. Okay. And then you want to bring your pectoralis over and attach it to that same place. Okay. But I don't want to see any McDonald's arches. Okay. Just want you to come here from the attachment point and then go over. Okay. So now what you're missing here is your pectoralis minor, which is going to 1, 2, and 3 right here, which is going to puff this up a little bit and also bring the skin forward. Okay. So that should provide you with an armpit now underneath here. Okay. And we want the sternum to be al dente, okay, meaning to the bone, if you're not a chef or have never cooked pasta correctly. Okay, so you can see how much space I have before I get to the sternum. You can check right now. Check right now. I mean, me, I'm 7'8", 350 pounds of muscle, and I can still feel my sternum. Okay. So we want to lay that down first. Okay. And so now you can see how much more you can take away from this. So it doesn't seem too unnatural. Okay, and I'm going to go to brush smooth and smooth stronger, because I don't want to stay here all night smoothing out. Okay. Where is the sake? That is a great question. Which? Oh, you found it, Tiago. Okay. Harry Mandibles. Yeah, this song is when the wind kicks in and we win the regatta. What's going on, Mandibles? Appreciate you being here. Everybody follow Mandibles. He is streaming like a madman every day, 31 days of gourds, all using his I guess asset kit that you can pick up on ArtStation if you want to. So he's just making pumpkins every single day, streaming every single day. So go check him out. Luan, submit a file. Awesome. Just in case, you got 2 more in Discord. Thanks very much. The sake is kicking in. Sergio Santel ripped my ears. What up, man? Chillin' and killin'. What's up, Carbon? Make sure to go follow Carbon. He's streaming weekly as well. Part of the dojo. He's also on Friday Night Live with us. You can, let me give you my link tree, so y'all can just have everything. But yeah, you can go here. You can check out the YouTube. Friday nights, me and a bunch of other professional artists get together and have a really great time just hanging out, trying to make each other laugh. So come and hang out Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Luan, I'm extremely skinny, so all I can feel is my sternum. Word, that chicken was dope. What's going on, my friend? Are you doing well? Doing well, Scorpion Core. Thank you very much. How are you, brother? How are you? Okay, so back to the pectorals. So what we need to do is we need to attach this deltoid underneath the clavicle. Okay, and I'm gonna shave off a little bit so it doesn't seem out of proportion with the rest of her body. She's looking a little Mrs. Olympia right now. Did anybody catch the Olympia? It was just last week. Is there any restrictions on the mentorship character? I know realistic, but genre... No, genre doesn't matter. Does not matter. The best use of my course is that you involve as much anatomy and movement as possible in your piece. Because if you clad them in armor, I don't know what to do for you. You're in the wrong class. This isn't hard surface modeling. This is anatomy. Okay, so kind of just evening this out. You're having the hardest time picking a character? Yeah, just pick, pick your favorite character. Just do something because, you're going to have to, if you haven't had a whole lot of anatomy before, you're going to have to be introduced to that. If you've never completed a collectible before, you're going to have to do that as well. And if you've never worked under a time budget as well, then you're going to have to deal with that. So the worst thing that you can do during this class is overreach. Okay, so what you want to do is something that you can accomplish within 6 weeks. And you want to be conservative. because then we can focus on your anatomy, we can focus on your movement, we can focus on your composition. But if we're worried about, you know, magic and spears and shields and flowing this and flowing that and architecture and then that's what we're going to focus on, and then your anatomy skills are going to be the exact same, right? Because you spent all of your time on everything else that was not anatomy. So okay, yeah, so do we sculpt and pose or rig and move? Either way, whichever one. It's you can rig a character, pose them out, and then we can resculpt them, or you can do it all in ZBrush. Usually I just get the mannequin and I just put it in place, and then I just start sculpting and move it and sculpting and move it and sculpting and move it and sculpting and doing whatever I need to do to get that. So yeah, it's whatever you're most comfortable with is what you want to do. Okay, and then whenever you've learned everything in the class, you can really challenge yourself, and you won't be you know, rushing all the time, because you want to give yourself time to study and absorb the information that you're being given. So just don't go crazy, you know, don't go crazy. But if you, I'm going to send an email out on Thursday, kind of what I would prefer all the students to have on our initial meeting. Some of those things are your portfolio ready to go, right? So you're not like, oh, I have this, I have that, let me pull it up right now. No, it needs to be pulled up and ready to go. Because again, you know, everybody has the same amount of time, so if you spend your time getting everything ready and preparing all of it, then that's on you, you know. So you want to be prepared prior to class. Next, you want to have your portfolio ready to go, to where you just literally just share your screen and it's there, and we can take a look at it and I can assess where you are. Okay, and then some idea. Doesn't have to be the most concrete idea of all time, that what you're going to do, and you've decided you're going to dedicate your life to the. You don't need that day one, but some idea. Some like, oh, well, I really like Batman, so I was thinking of doing a Batman sculpture, you know, or oh, I'm really, you know, whatever it is, you know, I want to do Thor or whoever it is. Just make it your favorite character. But if your favorite character is clad in armor, find a better character. Is clothing optional for the meeting? Yes, as always, comics. This is true. The spice melts bacteria. Or an Aquaman sculpt? Of course you can do an Aquaman sculpt. Yeah, I'd most likely do a comic hero. That's my job. Yeah, finally, yeah, do that. Do your favorite one. I see a lot of people, you know, and I have a tendency to do it as well. So I'm not like some amazing genius or anything, but we tend to overthink things a lot when it's very simple, you know. Usually the answer is do what you like and let other people know about it. Usually that's the answer to most everyone's ambitions. So yeah, don't overthink it. It's not that hard. Very, very simple. Okay. Alrighty, so going through here. But yeah, I think this is a good amount of information now that we have some more submissions in the dojo. So if you have been waiting, I appreciate your patience. You are a true dojo warrior. I appreciate you joining the dojo and waiting. We will get to you in just a second. We're gonna go first come, first serve, as usual. Okay. So yeah, that's I think that's a lot of information, but that's just a lot of information. Okay. So be able to work on that. Get a little bit more. Worry about the pectoralis a bit more. Okay. If anything, just worry about everything from the clavicle up that we talked about, and then we can work with that. And this cancel tendon, I'm going to bring down, hit that lacrimal punctum, and I'm going to bring this up a little bit more. A little bit more right there, right there. Bring that in. So yeah, that's what I would do, brother. That's what I would do. DZ Inc., I want to do one of the fighting poses off of bodies in motion. Do you feel like that works? Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Sensei, I'm super late today. No electricity in my house. Ah, dang. That sucks. Yeah, yeah, Thor's one of my favorites too. Yeah, he's of Marvel, he's my favorite character. So you might want to go like the classic route, where it's basically him in spandex with 3 silver discs on him, but everything else was just skin tight. You might want to go with that version of him, and you can still do Thor. So basically, it's him in a skin suit still. Jace Cover, have any tips on being neat when sculpting? I sculpt very sketchy, like this, and then I just smooth it out. A tendency a lot of people have when doing this is that they don't keep the contrast as well, so they kind of smooth out contrast in key areas, and it kind of makes their mesh look all soft and gooey. Okay, so to prevent that are bony landmarks. So if you can hit your bony landmarks, then those will contrast all the organic forms that you've got here. Okay. But here, yeah, just being neat, I'm just coming in here and just smoothing, because right here I don't need detail, right? I just need form. So here, just using my trim dynamic here to get kind of like a plane change here, to have it come down a little bit more. Smooth. And remember, we don't want McDonald's arches. Okay. Be very careful about that. All right. So when it comes to portfolio ready, is just still images fine for you? Because I don't really have a strong portfolio on there. No, you don't need a strong portfolio. I just need to see what you do. It doesn't need to be amazing at all. Preferably, it's really, really bad, and then I can just help you even more, and then I can take all the credit. So the worse, the better in my class. As long as you care, then you're in a good place, and I'll take care of you. All right, Vanessa, you are up first. Are you still here, Vanessa? All right, still here. Okay. My pleasure, Astral, my pleasure. If anyone else wants some instruction that possibly could be really cheap, just so you can see, hey, you know, what is this guy? Who is this guy? Okay. Well, I'm the 5-star king. All right, that's what I am. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, 5-star, 5-star reviews. And it's on sale right now. And I don't ever put my stuff on sale. So if you want this, you should go get it right now, okay? I would get the spicy bundle, everything that I do, all the sessions that I'm going to record, all the one-on-ones that I'm going to record in the future are all going to be added to the spicy bundle. So hopefully by the end you'll have literally hundreds of videos in there, all about anatomy, teaching you anatomy, showing you how I correct other people's anatomy and all that stuff, right? So I would get that. But if you just want to try me out, check out any of these other ones so you know I ain't messing around. Okay? But that is at the ArtStation Shotgun Scream store right there. Twisted! I signed for the character design course at XMD a few weeks ago. I was wondering, is there a formal or informal way to get in touch with you and talk about it? I'd appreciate it. Signed for a character design course at XMD a few weeks ago. Is that the character creation for collectibles? The on-demand? All right, so let's get to Vanessa. Let's see what. Oh, Vanessa, yours is still downloading. It's for some reason Discord or whatever it is Dropbox is really slow. Yeah, so I was wondering if there's a formal or informal way to get in touch with you and talk about it a little. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, you can message me on Discord. You can message me on Discord. Sorry, there's a lot of subtools. I didn't get rid of all the non-anatomy stuff. My bad. Oh, it's not the size. It shouldn't take. I think it's a Dropbox connection issue, because usually it would just take me a couple seconds to download this. Because I got that Google Finder. But let's see if we can get someone else's downloaded. Luan, you're going to be up next, so stick around. My internet must be slow today or something. I don't know. That's weird. Getting that spicy bundle right now. Oh, hell yeah, Astro. Hell yeah. All right, sounds good, Twisted. I look forward to speaking with you. And we are just waiting for these files to download. For some reason, it's really, really slow. I have no idea why. So, did everybody get the email for the theme? The sculpt off for the summit? It is reimagined. I love all the themes that these guys come up with over at Pixologic. They're just so wide open. So wide open, you can do whatever, basically anything that you wanted to do. Hard surface, organic, all that stuff. So it's really, really good. So I have mine. I'm going to keep it as a surprise. All right. You can keep it as a surprise. And don't be nervous. Do not be nervous. Obviously, you can't help yourself from being nervous, but don't be nervous. All right. Arvind Singh, let's look at yours while we're waiting for these to download. Okay. Alrighty, let's take a look. Alrighty. So, decent work. You know your materials. You know how to break things down. You know how to render them. You know how to prepare them. It's all good stuff to know. Let's see. I would take out the symmetry in your anatomy for your final pieces. and you have a bunch of things going on here. I know it's going into monster arm, so it's not really that big of a deal, but your brachialis doesn't go that far back. It goes up here and down. But yeah, feet are okay, regular feet. Let's see. Let's take a look at this one. This one's pretty cool. This looks like Brahm. It looks good. I'd say the proportions are off. It seems like you did more work up here than you did down here. Biceps really weird, but let me. How much time do we have? We got like 5 seconds, Arvin. If I had more time, if you want to submit one of these ZTLs to me, I'll go over it and I'll really give you a nice critique. This one's really cool. I would say all this area for you is where you are the most confident, and the face. Everywhere else, I feel like you're very unsure about where you're wanting to go. But yeah, so if you want to submit one of your ZTLs, I'll go over it and sculpt over it and show you exactly what I would do. So feel free to do that, Arvin. Okay. Do we pick what we reimagine, or they tell us? You pick. You pick. Wait, we can send you our portfolio stuff. Yeah, if you want to. I would save yours for the session. When waste that here. Alrighty, so let's take a look. Vanessa! Okay. Alrighty, so. Okay. Let's see. So are you going for this, because you're mixing things with your sculpting. You've got slightly realistic arms here, roughly regular proportions for the body, and then you have a very, very Disney head. So do you want it all real, or do you want it all stylized? Which way do you want to go? But yeah, let's talk about this head real quick. Let's go grab all this. Boom. Okay. So I would say the neck is a bit too straight. Kind of looking for Overwatch style-ish. Okay, not a problem. So you do have a very nice cylindrical neck, but you got to put the curve of the cervical spine here. Okay. And your throat is meeting, I think there could be a little bit more definition around here, because right here it's losing it all right here, right? Like you have the indication and then it just becomes the same mesh here. So yeah, and we're going to see it. So what I would do, the width is fine. What I would do is not build up but dig in around. And then I know that the face is being hidden, but it's still going to influence everything that's underneath it, or on top of it, right? So we want to give a little bit more here, and we'll address the chin in a second. Bring that back a little bit, so it kind of goes up, but you want to be very careful with the convex, right? Or concave. You want to be very, very careful. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Okay. And kind of redirect this to kind of go that way. Okay. All right. Next, your head is very straight back. Okay. So right here, I would make it the widest and then have it come back in. And then your face right here, remember the zygomatic, when we take a look at the female skull, the zygomatic arch is the widest part of the face, right? We can see it outside of the temple. Okay.
So we want to do that with yours. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that this is wider than our temple, and we want to keep note of where it is going to, right? So this is your ear hole right here, right? And then this is the front of your face. Okay. And where is it the widest? Generally the back end of the middle. Excuse me. The back end of the middle, right? So we're gonna take this as a middle right here and go back, and then we're gonna wind it. Okay? We're gonna bring it into the ear. Okay. And so now what we need to do is we need to get our orbit. So your orbit is looking like that's what your orbit looks like. Okay. And what it needs to look like is a square on its side this way. Okay. So if we take a look at the female skull, you can see BDS, RGB. You can see that they're roughly squares right here. And this is the angle that your eyes go in, not this angle. Okay. That's actually for the opposite side, right? So you don't want to sculpt them in reverse. Okay. So what we need to do is you have this right, but you don't have it going this way, right? So if we, one way to really get a nice, some things that you, a little trick. Okay, here's a little trick. So whatever this angle is here, BDS, whatever this angle is the same as this angle. Okay, that's the same angle. And then you're gonna connect it through. Right, so boom, and boom, okay. So with this eye, it's just, let's see if we can, so what I would like to see is, let's just mask this eye, BMK, and mask this. And then I'm gonna form the eye, okay? Or the orbit. So I'm gonna fade it once. Right here, we want this to go down, we want that to go down, right? So we take a look at the skull. See, this is the lowest part of the entire eye socket, right? And where is it? Generally around the top of the nasal aperture, okay? So we take that here. Top of the nasal aperture, somewhere around here. So we're gonna bring it down. Okay. We're gonna invert that, bring that in. Okay. Kind of just want to dynamesh this thing real quick. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so I'm gonna smooth that out, smooth all this out. Okay, so we're going to, we want this superior edge, right? Let's take a look at the female skull. Okay, let's fill object, BDS, red, RGB, okay, so if we're going to block this out, you can see that we have this orbit here, and that this does not meet. Okay, see the space in here? Okay, so if we take inventory, we've got the superciliary arches right there. We've got the glabella right here, and it's asymmetrical, so I'm just gonna do it on this one. And then we've got the nasal bone, and then all this stuff right here is the maxilla. Okay. And notice the distance between that and the top of the nose. Okay, it's pretty substantial. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what we want to bring here. Okay, we want to bring a little pocket in here. Oops, BCB, Little pocket in here. Bring that brow around. Bring it down over here. Bring it back, right? And what does this not do? It does not meet, right? So you know that this is going to be in front. And then you're gonna have all this space right here for the glabella and your superciliary arches, right? And then we know that the nose comes in right here. So we just take a look at the skull, right? Let's fill this up again, right? So your nasal bone is right there, okay? So you can see it's going in. There's a middle part, BDS. There we go. And then it's going to dive down, right? So you have this little bit right here as well, okay? So that's kind of what we want to observe when we're doing this nose. We have a little bit of space here, right? Because there should be a good amount of space from the nose, right? From the maxilla to the nose, there should be a good amount of space. Smooth that out, smooth all this out. Yep. Smooth that out. All right. So next thing we want to do is we want to give it a little bit more. I mean, these eyes are really, really big. They're just really, really, really big. So I would bring them together a little bit more, and that's going to provide you a whole lot more space to kind of fit all this in. Right, because right now everything's just so crowded that you can't put anything in here. So, and if you do, it's not going to look right. Right? I'm pretty sure you've tried to put these forms in here prior to submitting this, and it just never looked right. It's because the eyes were taking up so much that you weren't able to put in anything believably. Right? So. We're going to have this bit come out, right? The caruncula right here. Okay. Right there. Okay. And then we're gonna carve in the tarsal plate. Okay. So that's gonna go from one edge of the eye to the next edge of the eye, right here. Okay. And the idea is that this is wrapping around the eye. It's not going straight up and down, but it's going around it. Okay. So your eye from the offset is so huge, right? So you want to be very careful. Is where's the bottom is. Okay. So if I go in here, we transparency. You can see there's no room, right? If we filled that. If we filled the eye, the orbit with the eye, there would be no room for tarsal plates, for fat, for skin, for tendons, for muscles, for even for the eyeball, right? It'd just be all squished in there. So what you need to do is make this way smaller, okay? So what I'm gonna do is this, I'm gonna activate symmetry, I'm gonna put in the center, and I'm gonna activate local symmetry. And I'm going to bring this down probably almost a third in. Okay. Down there. Okay. And let's go back to those eyes. Okay. So now whenever we, bring this all together a bit more, and we give it an eyelid right here, and so the eyelid should be pretty substantial, and you can see how your eyes are going in towards the center. They should be going down at the edges, right? So the middle should be the peak, and then it should go down. Okay, and then we're gonna fill up all this. We're going to carve in here so we can get that temporal arch. fix this a little bit more. Right there, bring this in. This is all wrapped around the eye, right? And so here at the bottom, we want to have a straight line right here coming out from here. Right there. And have it go around, okay? So we can be a little bit more subtle about it. And bring this forward and then bring it to the side. Yeah. Smooth. I'm gonna use back face masking and use move. So I can just grab the back side of this and bring it closer. Same thing here. Turn off back face masking, and now I want to make sure that this is all equal distance around the eye. I want to make sure there's no gaps or anything like that. Okay. And here, back face masking, bring that in. Okay. And here we've got this whoop, we got this wobble here, so I want to fix that. Okay. Go right here, right there, right there. Okay. And we also want this eyelid 99 times out of 100. It's going to go over the bottom eyelid, right? So this one should go over the top. Alrighty, so now the issue is that these eyes are really far apart, right? And the face is kind of short. So I would bring this a little bit further down so the eyes don't seem so out of proportion, okay? And then your lips are a little bit too far back for a neutral expression. See how they're wrapping around? You want the barrel of the mouth, you don't want it to be like a half circle, right? And then underneath here, it's going to be the furthest off of your face, right? Your lip. This is where it's going to be the farthest. So now what we need to do is bring this around, right? And smooth it out, smooth it out. All right, bring this in. And we want to make sure that the upper lip is ahead of the bottom lip unless you want an undercut. Not that that's not unattractive. Me and my cousins, we all have these. So, and then put the, usually a Cupid's bow here. Okay, something like that. And then I'm just gonna push this bottom lip in a bit more. And whenever you're sculpting lips, it's more of a subtractive thing than an additive one, okay? Alrighty, so a little bit more form around here. Get rid of that wrinkle, get that. And then next thing I would do is kind of lift this up. Bring that down so we still have that infraorbital furrow. But now it's not, doesn't look so alien. So here what we need is the lacrimal punctum, and then we need this to go down. So boom, bring that a little bit closer. All right, so you should have a hit, and then it should go down. So what I'm gonna do is bring that down from this angle here. Okay. Something like that. Okay. So next, smooth, smooth, smooth. Get that angularity out of the head. And you can see that here that the temple is going out and then coming back in. So I want to be very careful about that. I want to make sure that unless I'm sculpting the Hulk, that I don't do that. Okay. If you want to get that lift here, you just need to carve in the temporal arch, and then you'll have that lift. And make sure that temporal arch doesn't go too far in. Okay. Alrighty, so it's looking better. Let's talk about the nasal labial fold. Right here, so smooth, smooth, smooth. And we want the angle of the face that we have right here is kind of what we're looking for, right? About 10 to 15 degree tilt. And you can see how wobbly that eyelid is. That will show up in your final renders. So make sure you spend the time and really, really make sure these eyelids are equal distance. Even though you're gonna have eyelashes in here kind of obscuring the line, it's still going to matter. Okay. So you can do that. And we are missing, I would say the forehead's kind of rounding in a bit too much. So I'm gonna flatten it a bit. And then I want the 3 hits for my nose, okay? Which yours are gonna be here. It's gonna be your nasal bone. And then your alar cartilage going into your septal cartilage, okay? And notice all the space we got in here now. Probably a little bit too much. We can probably bring the eyes in a bit more if we wanted to. They are a little bit on the outside. There. This. Somewhere around there. Yep, that's a little bit better. Okay. So nasal labial fold is going to come from the maxilla. Right here, so let me show you where that is. It's going to originate right there. Let me get BDS. It's going to originate right there, okay? And it's going to come down, and it's going to go around the nodes of your mouth, and it's going to rest right around here, okay? So boom, kind of like that, okay? So for this, we're going to do the same thing right around here. We are going to bring it around the node of the mouth, which is this bit that you sculpted in here very well. Okay. And where is it the meatiest? It's meatiest around the nose, a little bit under it. But I'm talking about the tip of the nose, not the entire nose. Okay, and you smooth it out. And then you redirect this because it needs to come from the nostril, right? So it's coming from the nostril and you're going out that way, okay? And so the more that you leave this wrinkle here, the older she's going to be, okay? So just decide how you want to handle that, okay? Next, you want to address the mental eminence. So it's very blocky right here, okay? And what I would do is get a form soft brush and just soften it a little bit, okay? But you do want that chin to come out, right? So if we take a look at the skull, you can see that your chin's probably going to meet up with your teeth, right? So if we're gonna look at that, your teeth are roughly about right here. So we could even bring this out a bit more. Okay. And then when we look at the nose, you can see yours is your nostrils, your septal cartilage are all in one line. Okay. Take a look at the skull. You can see that's not the case. Okay. Your nostrils are really far back, and then your septal cartilage is in front. So much so that you can see the back of the nostril here and the front of the septal cartilage there. Okay. So that's the way we want to treat your nose. Okay. I want to grab this We want to move it back, and we want to move this forward. Okay. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Okay. And then we want to kind of, you know, shape up this nostril so it doesn't look so weird. Okay. And then we want to get our alar cartilage. So you see this curve right here. Pay attention! You see this curve here? You're going to come from there, and you're going to get your alar cartilage. Okay? You want it to go up, not down. Okay? Bring it here. Wrap it around. Okay? And what do we never forget, Dojo, about the nose? What do we never forget? That booger treasure trove right up in there, girl. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Every morning you're picking that thing. We all know it. We all know it. We all know you're all up in there just... We all know. Okay? Don't act like you don't know. Okay? Don't act like you don't have to sculpt that. Okay? Okay. So the problem with this alar cartilage is it's going too far forward. What I want it to do is come here and then go down and then around. Okay? And then that's going to give you that nice button of your nose. Okay. And then we want that to go backwards. Smooth, smooth. Okay. And so that's what you look like, right? Let's get a little bit more of a swoopy swoop into the septal cartilage. And let's move, let's see how high the nasal aperture is. So if this is the entire orbit, let's say in the lower half, okay? So let's take a look at our nasal bone. It should be in the lower half of our eyeball. Okay. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Okay, and the problem is that it's still lopsided that way. Okay. Right here. And let me use the regular smooth. So I think I'm losing a lot. All right, so next thing we want to do, your jawline is good. I'll just put a little bit of a curve in here, right? If we take a look at the, you can see it's going to have this curve. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is just reinforce the orbit now that everything's kind of planned out. You know, I don't sculpt, you know, in a very linear fashion. I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Re-sculpt things, put it back where it was, all that stuff. I try not to get too, I understand that there's schoolwork and you obviously have a deadline. You don't want to spend too much time and you want to be as efficient as possible. But at some point you do need to understand that you will have to be re-sculpting things. Quite a bit in this business, so just be aware of that and don't get frustrated when you have to. You know, it's just a part of the business. Okay, and then let's inflate here. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Inflate. Okay. So she's looking a little old, so we're gonna take that out. And then if you want to age her really, really quickly, take the nasolabial fold, follow it down, and then give it a little bump right there. All right. And just sculpt it in. Now look how much older she looks. And that was one little bump. Okay, so you want to be very, very careful about what you're doing. Okay. All right, so nice youthful jawline, nice and straight, no deviations. And then just depends on like where you want to take it from here. You want to give her the model look, where she doesn't have any buccal fat and everything's just going to her nodes. Do you want to Amy Winehouse, where she's got a big old buccal fat here, nice and puffy, right? Bringing that in. It's just like where you want to go from here, okay? But if you want to go like Overwatch, that's going to be more of an angular model-esque face, right? So, but if you adhere to these rules, you should be heading in a decent direction, okay? So let's take a look at what it was and what it is. Okay. So that's what I would do. If you want to take it into the Blizzard Overwatch area, all you have to do is just make this a little bit more angular and take out some of the tertiary details. Okay. But for you, I would lengthen the face. I would make the eyeballs at least 30% smaller. Okay. I would not have everything go so far back. Okay. Especially that's one thing, that a tendency that you have is that you're rolling it a little bit too far back with your lips, with your eyes. Okay. All that stuff. And then, try to pay attention, give a little bit more space in between the eyes, right? And fill that in with the information of the nose, because then whenever you have everything on top of this, right? Let's see if we go back here. Get rid of these eye bristles, eyelashes, right? And that's going to influence your mask. It's going to influence the shape of your hair, where it's coming out. Is it coming out too far? Is it coming out too low? Okay. But now you can see it looks way more female with all this new information. Alrighty, sister. Thanks for submitting it. I appreciate you. Luan coming in with the anatomy. Alrighty. So this is looking good. It's going in a good direction. You have a lot of things that are working for me. You have a lot of good forms in here. There are some things that we can definitely work on, though. Alrighty. Faces, in terms of if it was stylized, is looking good. Okay. If we want to make it realistic, then there's some things that would change. One, I would bring the malar down a bit more on both sides. They seem a little bit too short. The zygomatic could be a little bit wider. Malar could be a little bit more substantial. Just really send home all of this information. Your skull is very blocky. Bring that in, bring that in. Make this the widest part and bring this narrower. Okay. For how fit he is, he does have a gobbler underneath here, so I would bring that back a little bit more, right? Okay. Your jawline is going straight back like that. So if that's the case, then his mouth would have to be open. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to have this angle of the jaw and then mandible. Okay. And then we're going to connect the bottom of the malar, bottom of the zygomatic. We're all going to connect it right here. Okay, most of the meat is going to be down here at the bottom, near the angle of the jaw. And you generally want a bit more horizontal angle because the length of the jaw is a little bit more substantial for a male. And nice and youthful straight jawline. Okay. Nose is looking pretty good. You're just missing those secondary details like the alar cartilage. All right. All that. Your nasal and septal cartilage are lined up. So if you want, you can just bring that forward. Probably be the easiest thing. And bring that home right there. And then get this to curve into the septal cartilage here. A little bit less on the bottom. Chin is good. Just maybe a little bit too wide. If you're doing, Eric Sosa Superman, then we could have a wide chin like this. But I think what would help you a bit more is if we narrow the chin. Right, it's still substantial, still sticking out, but then we fill in this area that you consider chin with the depressor muscle. Okay. The only way that this is going to happen here is if there's a whole lot of node, and he's doing that, right? He's doing the mouth shrug, whatever you want to call it, right? So he would have to have an expression, and his expression does not support that shape that you're putting in there. Okay. Here, your nostril is kind of, I would separate it a little bit more. And then bring it over. Just subtly. Okay. And this, you see how you're bringing this here? You know what that lines up with? The infraorbital furrow. Okay, so you want to make sure that what you're looking at is what you're looking at. Okay, and then your eyelids are really, really thin. A little bit more, and whenever you're looking over and your eyes over there, you're gonna have a little bit more square of an eye. Okay, because your pupil is pushing that out right here. Okay, so whenever you're taking reference and your actor is not looking directly at you, the eye, the palpable fissure of the eye or the opening is going to conform to that. Let me see if I can find it for you. Oh yeah, no worries on that. Robert Pattinson bit, no worries. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, here you go. It's gonna take a little while to warm up. It's on my separate drive. There we go. Okay. So where your eye looks, you notice wherever this is going to be where the apex is of your curve. Let's see if this is the right one. I have two videos. You see how it's changing shape, right? I don't know why it's slowing down. Why does my computer always do this when I try to make a point? But yeah, where your iris is, that's going to be the peak of your eye, so it will have a bunch of different shapes in here. Let's see if we can get this to work. But yeah, so that's going to change the shape of your eye. You want to be very careful about that, okay? So generally, it's going to do that. See, it's much different, right? You have your lacrimal punctum right here, and it's going to go over naturally, right? So if we look at it this way, see, boom, lacrimal punctum going over and down, right? Then whenever we're looking up, it's lacrimal punctum up, and then dive down. Right, and here it's pretty much just straight across, just a nice easy curve. Okay, and then when we go over here, you can see it's going up here, and this is where the peak is now. Okay, and notice how much of the eye you can actually see. Okay, whenever we're doing an expression like this, we still want to keep the orbit of the eye, right? So we're still going to keep the orbit of the eye because your bone doesn't move whenever you express, right? It's just the skin and the muscle. So we want to make sure that whenever we are exposing our eyebrow like this, or the brow, or raising our brow like this, that it exposes the eye even more, right? Like we see the orbit more because you're raising it, and now you can see this little bit is the edge of my orbit, right? So we want to do that. Okay. And we know that this is going to go behind and that this is going to be in front, right? So your infraorbital furrow is going to be right here. And then the superior edge of your orbit is going to go behind it. Pretty far behind it. And then we want to connect this canthal tendon to the infraorbital furrow. Right? Okay. So now here what I want to do is kind of fill in this a little bit more, because there's another depressor that brings this down. So you have one that brings the lip down and then one that brings the node down. Okay, so you have 2 depressor muscles there. Fill that in. Okay, and then here we just want to soften this out. All right, so now that we know that that's the infraorbital furrow, now we can, I'm just gonna work on this side of the face, that we can separate this out a bit more, right? Because we have the nasal bone, then we have the nasal labial fold that's originating from the maxilla, just medial of the orbit. And it's going to come down and around our node of the mouth, right? And depending on, you know, there's millions of different nasolabial folds. Sometimes you'll see it pretty substantially down here. But what you can count on is that it will always be floofiest right here around the nose, a little bit above, a little bit below, and then just smooth out the transition. And then that's looking good. A little bit more around the nostril. Dig that in right here. And then make sure that, what the hell? Where's the treasure trove? Where's the treasure trove? You can get that up in there. Get that up in there. Y'all know better. Y'all know better than to submit work to me without that treasure trove. I'm fucking angry. Vanessa, thanks again. This was awesome. My pleasure. My pleasure. What's up, Max Steel Flex? I like that name. Turcon, looking good. Jeff the Chef, what's going on, brother? Metal Dragon, do you ever turn the alpha off for the clay buildup brush for smoother buildup? No, I never tried that. I kind of like the sketchy feel. I use it for that purpose. So if I want to have that effect, then I usually just use a form soft if I want to do that. Luan, interesting. That's some great reference. Thank you very much. Timothy Bowden, what's up? Spear Chuck, Gold Digger. Oh, you know it. You know it. Okay. Alrighty. So, what we need to do with this alar cartilage is send it back up into the nose. Right? Back up into the nose. And you want to have a shelf right here for the very tip of the nose. BTD. Right there. For some reason it's not working. Alrighty, and then bring this down and over. Yep. And A1. Alright. Alright, for your traps, they're just they are beginning too soon. Too soon, my blood. Too soon. So you bring it down. He's not let's get this. Shave off that backside so it's not so it's not larger than it needs to be. I like the hyoid cricoid or thyroid cricoid cartilage you have here. I would, you know, everything attaches right here on your throat. There, and then you can transition it down. A little bit more. almost there. Kind of just trying to even this out underneath here. Alrighty. So some gray supremacists. That's hilarious. But yeah. You know what? We'll do. What other Matt Cap you want on here? Timothy Bowden. What other one, huh? What do you want? What do you want, Bowden? Come on. Give it to us. Which one, Bowden? What? You want the normal? Gray? Oh, so gray's good now. Gray's good. Oh, okay. You know, we're doing red wax. No, I will never do red wax. Y'all know me. Y'all know me better than that. Y'all know me better than that. And let's choose a different color. There we go. Is that better? Is that better, Bowden? You feel better? Huh? Alrighty. Clavicle's looking good. The pectoralis is looking good. I like the feeling of this twisting here. A little bit. The pose is not my favorite. It's very... It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. Let's see what we can do. I just don't like how the knees out like this. It's just very uncharacteristic pose. This area seems like it's kind of broken a bit or out of socket. I would bring his knee in, bro. I'd bring his knee in. Do a little bit more sturdy pose and just on his little tippy toes, right? You have him walking forward and stuff like that, but there's just a bunch of different body, a bunch of different like your limbs are doing one thing, but the rest of your body is not following that. But yeah, I would have this a little bit more, yeah, because it looks like he's gonna fall over or something. I'm not sure. It just isn't my favorite pose. But the anatomy is looking good, brother. You are doing good. A little bit more here on the oblique, a little bit less angular. It feels like a bone here instead of muscle. And this right here, be careful it doesn't go all the way. But yeah, I just feel like his weight should be shifted onto his straight leg, but he's shifting it onto the leg that's not straight, right? He's like leaning all his weight on the foot that's not fully on the ground, and so it feels like he's just pushing himself this way, right? So I would switch these feet or these legs here. So if I was gonna do that, I'll go here. Well, first thing I'm gonna do is duplicate it, and then I'm going to boom, 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 BML right there. Go between each aces. Right there. Boom, boom, boom. Let's put this back. Invert it. And then let's see what we happen with a mirror. Let's delete our subdivision levels and mirror. And let's turn this one off. Right. This, Yeah, I would rethink this pose, brother. Because you see the difference in the balance. Hi, hoi, hi, hoi, hi, hoi. Okay. So be careful. I'll put the straight leg over there on that side. Yeah, for balance, this is much better for me. Because like if you're going, like if you're thinking of yourself as like a ballet dancer, you would put that leg out and you would put all your weight on, you know, on this leg, right? And you throw that leg out. And that's kind of like the situation that you're in now, right? Where you're putting all the weight on the foot that's not straight. So yeah, that's what I would change, brother. You can take it or not, it's up to you. But I think it would make the pose much more masculine and also feel better in the balance. Okay. Alrighty, people. Well, as always, that's like offering salsa made in New York City. If you want, you can join me here at ArtStation. I have plenty of anatomy tutorials for you there at a very affordable price. I do suggest getting the spicy bundle because all of my, I'm starting the first week of my private mentorships this week. And then next Thursday is a group mentorship. I have one spot left for that. If you're interested, definitely let me know. We'll get in touch on Discord. It's going to be Thursdays, 9:45 a.m. to 11:45 a.m. on Thursdays, starting next Thursday. So, Tiago, oh yeah, don't worry about you. I got you, brother. I got you. But yeah, so I would definitely check those out. What was I saying? Yes, there's only one spot left. If you're interested, let me know. If you want to just try me out, see if I know what I'm talking about, I would pick these up. They're on sale. And if you're interested in investing in your anatomy, character creation, future and career, then I would definitely get the spicy bundle because I am going to keep adding to it. And the price is going to keep going up, but you bought it at this price, so you get everything for free after that, right? So if you want to shave off years off of your toil and trouble concerning anatomy and all that, then I would highly suggest you pick up the spicy bundle and or join the dojo. Okay, dojo's totally free. Anyone can join it. Okay, and if you're interested, you can go here to the pinned message that we have and find out some more about the group mentorship. Okay, but yeah, I appreciate everybody that submitted their work. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are awesome. Y'all keep the dojo doors open and interesting. And we will be back next week. I suggest you stick around for just a few more minutes. Just a few more minutes because we are going to give thanks and praise to the Lord Scott Eaton.
Thank you very much for being here on the stream. If I did not get to you, I will get to you next week, 100%. So make sure you show up next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure you get your spot on the mat in the dojo. Okay? Oh, I'm a little off. Let me move myself over. There we go. Okay. There we go. So, definitely be here next Tuesday. We're going to continue straight down the line from where we were. So next week, we will have up front, we will have CDLIN on Discord with your tortera. And then Gatsu, and then Jeff the Chef. We will get you first thing next week. I appreciate you all being here. We have over 94 billion people watching the stream right now. But you know what it is, everybody. You know how it is. We're all one.
One.